Hey YouTube, so I'm sure that most of y'all know by now that Kandi Burruss did file for divorce from Todd Tucker. They had been married for 11 years and together for 14 years total. Now, Kandi hasn't provided any details on why she's divorcing Todd, and that's her prerogative, but of course, everyone is coming up with their own assumptions. Me personally, I feel like Todd has been cheating on Kandi that entire marriage. And because Kandi really loved Todd, she wanted a marriage with him, she wanted to work it out. She was even willing to engage in threesomes with Todd and other women to keep him satisfied. Also, with these different clips coming out from Todd's YouTube channel, he's clearly a red pill nigga. He's clearly very insecure. He's very envious of Kandi, and he feels very insecure about what he brought to the table, which was damn near nothing. Okay. I remember when Bravo displayed Kandi's assets versus Todd's assets, the assets that they had on their own before they got together. Kandi had a long list of accomplishments, achievements, properties, all types of assets under her name, from her music career to her businesses to her publishing, residuals, cash, properties. All Todd had under his name was a condo. That's the only asset he had to his name when he and Kandi became a married couple versus Kandi's multiple properties, multiple businesses, money, music career, all of that. I see a lot of people trying to blame Kandi's mom for them getting divorced, but that's not the case in my opinion. I was always on Mama Joyce's side. Mama Joyce told Todd to his face that she felt like he was an opportunist, that she felt like he was there to take Kandi's money. And Todd tried to convince her that he wasn't like that, but Mama Joyce was not budging because allegedly Mama Joyce uses Kandi as well, and it takes one to know one. I feel like this was always going to happen whether Mama Joyce was there or not, okay? I truly believe that Todd never really loved Kandi. He was never attracted to her like that. Todd is an opportunist. He got with Kandi because Kandi had money, she had assets, she had connections, she had status. At the time, Todd was just like a low-level producer on the show. And like I said, all he had to his name was that condo. So him attaching himself to Kandi has given him access to more money, given him access to more people who are connected. It's giving him a bigger platform to promote himself. So he got with her for a come up. I don't care what anyone says. And don't get me wrong, Kandi is a beautiful woman. She's talented. She's loving. Any man would be lucky to be married to Kandi and have a relationship with her. Kandi was down for Todd. People were coming at Kandi left and right. Oh, he's cheating on you. Oh, he's in New York telling people his name is Marvin. He's in the strip club with bitches on his lap. It's even people on Twitter who live in Atlanta who have been saying for years that they always see Todd out in Atlanta on dates with different women at bars, at strip clubs, at different places. He'd be in New York, sleeping around when Todd was going on those quote unquote jobs that no one knew about. He was out in New York, according to the people on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Portia was saying this, even though we know Portia and them was lying on Kandi. But some of that shit that they were saying was probably true. That Todd was going around New York, lying about his name, lying about his identity, so that he could sleep with different women while he was with Kandi. So basically, Kandi has been very respectful about the whole situation. She, like I said, she hasn't given any details as to why she is divorcing Todd. All she said was this was a difficult time for her. She has her up days, she has her down days. This is a sad thing that she's going through. She didn't want it to get to this point. And I believe her. I believe that Kandi genuinely loved Todd and she just wanted love. Yes, she's a very successful woman, very talented, very wealthy. You know what I'm saying? She had Riley. She was a mother, but I feel like Kandi wanted a marriage. She wanted to have a man. She wanted to have a husband. She wanted that family unit, and she didn't care that Todd made less money than her. She didn't dog him out for that. Granted, even like some of Kandi's friends and even Kandi's mom and her aunties were telling her like, listen, they were skeptical of him. Kandi ignored all of that and still stuck by Todd. People was coming up to Kandi telling her that this nigga's cheating, that he's disloyal, that he can't be trusted. And she still stood 10 toes down behind that nigga. And here we are today. The nigga was on his YouTube channel with her and her friends talking about women don't cater to their men anymore, and all you boss chicks and all you chicks who got all this money, that's why y'all can't keep a man, because y'all don't cater to y'all man, because you think because you got all this money that you don't have to cater to your man. He was like, the ex-girl that I had, she was catering to me. She treated me like I was a billionaire. She was cooking for me and cleaning for me with her panties on, and just her panties. And when they asked Todd, okay, if this last woman who you was with was catering to you, she was submissive to you, she was treating you like you was a billionaire, even though you wasn't, why aren't y'all together? And Todd eventually said that he was seeing another woman while he was seeing her. So basically, this nigga had a woman who was doing everything he wanted her to do, but he was still motherfucking cheating. But he got the audacity to ask why women who got their he had the audacity to ask why women aren't catering to men anymore. Well, the woman who catered to you got cheated on and left anyway. So what's the point of women putting all this work and all this effort into you when you're not going to return it? You're not going to be loyal. You're not going to commit. You're not going to marry them. You're going to let her give you all of her energy, all of her time, all of her love, all of her labor just for you to cheat anyway? Todd is a piece of shit. And the fact that this nigga had the audacity to feel like a woman should be treating him like a billionaire is insane. Todd has not earned billionaire status. This nigga didn't put in no work to get billionaire status. He wasn't even millionaire status before he met Kandi, but he thinks somebody's supposed to treat him like he done accomplished some $1 billion shit. You got me fucked up. How the fuck you want somebody to treat you like a billionaire, but you need her money to fund your lifestyle? Because he was saying that about the last chick too. The chick that was apparently catering for him and, cooking for him with her panties on. Oh, she was also working and paying half the bills. So this nigga wants you to treat him like a billionaire, even though he needs your money to keep the bills paid. Ain't that a bitch? Todd didn't put in no motherfucking work. He don't have the talent. He don't have the intelligence, and he don't have the skill to be no motherfucking millionaire or billionaire on his own. Yet he thinks he deserves the privilege of being treated like he done accomplished some shit when he needs half of your motherfucking money to survive and live the life he want to live. You got me fucked up. And then Todd be trying to act like he just did so much for Kandi. Oh, I helped her do so much. I helped her do this. I helped her do that. Bitch, like I told y'all, the only thing Todd had to his name when he met Kandi was that motherfucking condo. That was the only asset he had to his name. That was the only motherfucking accomplishment he had to his name. Okay? And he was a low-level producer on the show, allegedly, and all he had was that condo. Kandi was a multi-platinum selling artist, vocalist, singer. Okay, she was a Grammy winner. She owned multiple businesses. She owned a house and other properties. She was on the Real Housewives of Atlanta as a star of the show. And she had millions of dollars. And this nigga, Todd, gonna act like he just fucking came in Kandi's life and did some shit for her that she needed him to do, that she couldn't do for herself? You got me fucked up. At the end of the day, Todd didn't do shit for Kandi. Kandi did everything for Todd. The shit that Todd thinks he did for Kandi was shit that he thinks he did, but he had to use her money for it. You couldn't go out and do these restaurants on your own. You couldn't go out and do these shows on your own. You couldn't buy and invest in these different investments on your own. You needed Kandi's money. You needed her connections, and you needed her status to get that shit that you had with her. You didn't do shit for her. She did it all for you. Because how the fuck you gonna come in here and say that you did all this for Kandi when you couldn't even do the shit for yourself, nigga? All you had was a fucking condo. Nobody knew who the fuck you were, but everybody knew who Kandi was. Kandi was winning Grammys, going on tour, doing all this shit before anyone even knew you existed. But he got the audacity to sit here and act like he just did so much for her when he couldn't even do no shit for himself. This nigga relied on Kandi's money, Kandi's resources, Kandi's celebrity status to even get his foot in the door for owning these different businesses that he had with her. And a lot of the businesses flopped. Apparently, the restaurants didn't work out. The only thing that probably worked out was like the shows. I think Kandi won like a Tony. Congratulations to her. But I promise y'all, the show worked out because of Kandi. Kandi is a singer. She's a writer. She's a songwriter. She's a creative director. That show worked out because of Kandi, not because of Todd's ugly, fugly, dugly ass. Because if that's the case, why couldn't Todd do it by himself? Why, when Todd at his big age, why was Todd at his big age only the owner of a condo and a producer? Which I'm not saying that's bad, but you coming up to a boss bitch like Kandi, and if you hate boss bitches so much, if you feel like boss women don't cater to you and don't do this other shit to you, why the fuck were you pursuing a boss if you don't like that? I'm telling y'all, Todd got with Kandi because he was looking for a come up. He was so motherfucking disrespectful to her. Not even just on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, where he was always lusting after Portia and always trying to bring up these conversations about who he wanted to sleep with that wasn't his wife. There was also a clip on his YouTube channel where he told Kandi that if they ever broke up, he would smash all of her friends. He would have sex with all of her friends. And that was clearly his way of trying to make Kandi worried, lower her self-esteem, make her feel bad about herself, make her feel like she's not enough because of how big Kandi is. Kandi, like she said, she's worldwide. It's people in Asia singing her songs, okay? Kandi gets residuals off of a lot of shit that she done wrote on. Did y'all see that video of Kandi showing her plaques, her Beyonce plaques? Because every time Beyonce licenses a movie, whether it's a concert movie or a documentary, and she uses some of the songs that she sung that Kandi wrote, Kandi gets money off of that. She also gets plaques off of that. She got a whole wall in her house of all of her plaques. And you gonna tell me Todd didn't feel some type of way about that? Todd was jealous as fuck. So he would do little shit like, oh, I'ma smash your friends when if we ever break up. First of all, who the fuck says that to their wife? And he was always talking about divorce. You know, if a couple divorced, do you think the man should get this and that? And, you know, should the man get paid for telling her this and giving her ideas? He was always asking these hypothetical questions, but they were really questions that he wanted to ask to Kandi directly. This nigga has been plotting and scheming the whole time. That's why he was so, hesitant about that prenup. Now, he tried to make it seem like, because if y'all have been keeping up, Todd is currently trying to get primary custody of the kids because of he's saying it's because Kandi works a lot, so the kids are with him anyway. So he's saying that he should get primary custody of the kids since Kandi is always working. And then he's trying to say that he was pressured to sign the prenup. First of all, as far as the kids are concerned, Kandi working all the time is not good enough reason for this nigga to get primary custody. Me personally, I feel like no man should have primary custody of a child. I don't trust men with children alone, even their own fathers. And if you really think about it, if you really look up the statistics, most of the people, like most of the men that harm children are the child's own relatives, their fathers, their uncles, their brothers, especially their fathers and their brothers, okay? I don't think it's appropriate for a man to have full custody and all this alone time with children. I don't care what anybody says. I don't give a fuck if that's their father. I don't care if Kandi was married to him at one point. No man should have sole custody of a child, and no man should have a child in his house by himself for extended periods of time. I don't give a fuck what y'all say. I don't care how y'all feel about that. Take it how you want to take it. Also, now that they're getting divorced, I'm sure Kandi can redo her schedule to where she's more present with her kids, because obviously she was a married woman, so she can leave her child with her kids with their other parent while she's out making the money, because somebody got to make some motherfucking money in this bitch, because Todd broke ass ain't gonna go out and make no motherfucking money. He was lying and saying he had jobs in other states, and he was gone for months at a time, acting like he out working. Meanwhile, he just telling people that his name is Marvin, allegedly, and sleeping with other bitches. So somebody got to make some money around this bitch. It ain't Todd doing it. Kandi out here providing for her motherfucking kids. But I bet you once they get a divorce, she's a boss. She's an entrepreneur. She sets her own motherfucking schedule. So she can redo her schedule to be more present with her kids. She also has her mother, her aunts. She can get a nanny. Like, Kandi working is not good enough reason for Todd to get the kids. What Todd is trying to do is get child support from Kandi, because Kandi made his ass sign that prenup. Kandi and him signed a prenup, and the prenup was basically that whatever Kandi had before she married him and whatever Todd had before he married her, whatever they had before they got married, they would not split that. Kandi would leave with what she had before she met him. Todd would leave with what he had before he met her. That's what their agreement was. And also the agreement was anything that they made together, they would split it 50-50. But with Todd, not only does he want what they made together, he also wants what Kandi had before she met him. Because he a greedy, dirty, bum-ass bitch. That's why he didn't want to sign that prenup. The prenup was always fair. But Todd was lying to his lawyer, acting like, oh, he was doing so much for Kandi. He was doing all that for Kandi. He wasn't doing shit for Kandi. Kandi said it on TV. She was like, I don't even understand why you acting like it's an issue. We already agreed that you would leave with what you had. I would leave with what we had. And whatever we had together, we would split it 50-50. But Todd was trying to act like his lawyer was saying, well, oh, I don't want you to sign it. No. Todd was going to his lawyer, lying to his lawyer about what he was doing to Kandi. So the lawyer thought that Todd shouldn't sign the prenup. Allegedly. Whole time, the whole agreement was for them to leave with what they had already and split what they made together 50-50. But Todd, that was not good enough for Todd. He wants what they made together and he wants what Kandi had before they got together. Because again, all Todd had to his name was that fuck ass condo. He didn't have shit else because he's not smart like Kandi. He's not talented like Kandi. And he's not skilled or charismatic enough like Kandi to be a motherfucking millionaire and a boss on his own. He's a bitch. So on top of trying to get primary custody so he can get some child support from Kandi because he ain't gonna get shit in alimony. On top of that, he's trying to say that he signed the prenup under pressure, which a lot of people could see that coming because yes, he was with her for her money. Okay. I don't think that's going to stick because this whole thing was on video. Okay. This whole thing was on video. Yes. In the beginning, he was acting like, oh, the lawyer said I don't sign a prenup. But once it got closer and closer to the wedding date and he knew Kandi wasn't going to budge, that's when he was like, oh, yes, let's get married. I'm not going to let this prenup stop us. He said this out his mouth, y'all, on video. He said that he was signing that prenup willingly. He said he's not going to let the prenup stop him from marrying Kandi. Okay? And they got his ass on Bravo TV cameras. They got his ass on personal cameras. Kandi had 2 witnesses there watching him sign that prenup on TV, on video, and he was not stressed out. He was not pressured. He was gladly signing that motherfucking prenup. He's the one that tried to pressure Kandi to get married without the prenup. Mind y'all, it says here that Kandi gave Todd that prenup months before their wedding, like 3 months before their wedding. They had 3 months before their wedding to sign that prenup. Todd was the one holding out on the prenup. But behind closed doors, he and Kandi were discussing this with their lawyers. Behind closed doors, when Kandi was in the room with him, with Kandi's lawyers in the room with him, with his lawyers in the room, when all of them and their lawyers were together, he was telling Kandi to her face, like, yes, let's split everything that we made together 50-50. Let's leave with what we already had before we met each other. Let's leave with that. Let's not split that, but let's split what we had 50-50. That's what he was agreeing with Kandi behind closed doors to her face. But then when this bitch ass nigga would go to his lawyer by himself, that's when he would tell the lawyer, oh, I'm doing this for Kandi. I'm doing that for Kandi. He was lying. He was trying to get the lawyer to tell Kandi to give him something more. And then he was like, oh, you know, why if we get divorced, I got to leave the house in 30 days. What the fuck you mean? And I'm so mad that Kandi budged on that because now that they're actually getting divorced, I don't know how long that they make the agreement, but Todd can be in that house more than 30 days now because Kandi was willing to change that on the prenuptial agreement. My thing is this, Todd, you a grown ass man. You sitting up here saying you did all this shit for Kandi. You did all this for her. You did so much for her, right? Okay, so why is 30 days not enough for you to get your shit and get the fuck out her house when she divorces you? Why is 30 days not enough? You so smart, right? You supposed to be treated like a billionaire, right? Why is the imaginary billionaire worried about not finding another place in 30 days if he get divorced. That's not how billionaires act. A billionaire wouldn't be scared about having to leave somebody else's house in 30 days. Nigga, this is why you don't get treated like a billionaire, bitch, because you're not one. You don't act like one. You a bum. That's why you got treated like you a bum. The fuck? How you want somebody to treat you like a billionaire, but you sitting here talking about, well, what I'm gonna do and how I'm gonna find another place in 30 days. Mind y'all, he had the fucking condo. And then, like, that was Kandi's house that they were in. That was the house that Kandi had before they got together. He wants access to the house even after they divorced. He's so mad that that's Kandi's house. He's so mad that Kandi had that house before she got with him. He's so mad that Kandi had all this shit before she got with him because he can't control it. He can't hold it over her head. He can't make her feel small or less than or unworthy, because that's all her shit. And he was so mad that that was her shit because it was something that he couldn't hover over her head. It was something that he couldn't use to control her. Niggas want broke bitches because broke bitches are easier to control. But at the same time, they don't want a broke bitch because if the bitch is broke, she can't help him pay half the motherfucking bills. So it's like they want and don't want the same shit. They want a bitch who's broke, who can't be independent without him, but at the same time, he want her to still go out and make money because he too broke to pay for everything by himself. Now, I'm not going to shame Kandi because like I said, Kandi, I think she's a great person. I think she's beautiful. I think she's a great mother. And I think that her intentions were good. I think that she genuinely wanted love. She loved Todd. She stood by Todd. She didn't put him down. She stood by him regardless of people telling her that, this nigga's cheating. This nigga's going to use you. She really loved that man. And it's easy for me to get up here and say, oh, y'all are some pick-me's. Y'all are male-centered. But really, that's the culture that we were raised in. We were raised to be pick-me's. We were raised to be male-centered. We were raised to believe that we have to be married. We have to put up with these niggas. Even if these niggas ain't shit, even if these niggas don't make more money than us, we still have to put up with them because we are being raised in a patriarchal society, and the patriarchy tells us that we need a man. Okay? But, in this modern day and age, women are waking up and more women are not even opting into marriage. I see a lot of y'all trying to bash Rihanna and clown Rihanna for not being married to A$AP Rocky, but I feel like Rihanna shouldn't marry A$AP Rocky. She makes way more motherfucking money than him. She gains nothing by marrying him. Same thing with Queen Naija. Y'all keep getting on Queen Naija about not being married to Clarence. Granted, Queen Naija does want to marry Clarence. She does, but I feel like she shouldn't. She gains nothing by marrying Clarence. Queen Naija had all this shit going on for herself before she got with that nigga. When she got with that nigga was living in the basement with his mama. He was broke. Okay? Clarence was broke. Living with his mama in the basement when Queen got with him. And she leveled him up and, gave him a platform, and kudos to them. But I don't see any reason why Queen needs to marry that nigga. You done already gave him a baby. Y'all already sharing bank accounts. Y'all already got a house. Ain't no sense in getting married at this point because you already acting like a wife. But if you marry him and sign that paper, that nigga can come from your shit because I don't think Clarence really like Queen like that either. Okay? If this man don't have more money than you, and I'm not saying he got to be a billionaire, okay? Because you got to be careful with that as well. Even if you're making good money on your own, you don't want to be with somebody who's making too much more than you. Because if you do that, that man is going to use that to control you, like I said. So you do want somebody who's making the same as you or more than you, but not astronomically more. If you get with somebody who's lower than you, you're going to regret it. You're going to regret it, okay? When a man really wants a woman, when it's his dream woman, he's not going to make her pay for anything, okay? That's my belief. They be making y'all pay 50-50. Then when they break up with you, they going to go to they dream girl and trick off on her, okay? Shannon Sharp didn't want to pay for his daughter's wedding. But when he went to that little white bitch, the skinny white bitch who sued him and extorted him and took his shit, oh, he was offering her money without her even asking for it. offering to fund her lifestyle, offering to get her titties done. This the same nigga that didn't want to pay anything for his daughter's wedding. He didn't want to pay more than 30,000. But for the little white bitches that he wanted to fuck and pretend like he was fucking a child when he was fucking those white bitches, oh, he was introducing himself as the money man, offering them money without them even asking for it. So what I'm trying to say is, when a man really wants a woman, he's gonna try to do everything for you, not take from you. He's going to want to give to you everything. Todd really wants Portia. The reason why Todd didn't produce Portia is because Portia don't fuck with broke niggas. Or bitches, apparently, because now Portia is dating women. But if you notice Portia's track record, she was always with men who made way more money than her. Okay, her first husband, I think he was like a basketball player or a baseball player or something. He was rich. And then she was with... who was she with? She was with Dennis. I think that's her baby daddy. Dennis was like an entrepreneur. He owned his own businesses as well. Then she got with Simon. Simon had money, whether it was legal money or not. So Todd knew he couldn't go to Portia like that because Todd didn't own no motherfucking businesses. He wasn't no millionaire. He wasn't no boss like the other men that she was with. So he opted for Kandi because unfortunately Kandi, I hate to say it, but she was a bit desperate for love. Okay, and that'll make her stupid. That just make her human. So we'll see how this plays out. I hope Todd don't get shit. I hope Kandi get custody of her kids, and I hope she learned from this. You know, Todd is a bum. He's a brokey. Mama Joyce was right, and he's a bitch. That's how I feel.